In continuation with our series of Guru Purnima, we today have Sir Bhabhajit with us. Welcome, a warm welcome to you, Bhabhajit sir. Viewers, we have these regular people on our channel every Guru Purnima, and Bhabhajit is going since the first year with me. Let's see what he has today with us. Yes.
Thank you, madam. Very good to have a chat with you always again. So it's the auspicious time of Guru Purnima, and we know Guru Purnima is very special for each one of us, especially for the students of Jyotish, because this festival marks the beginning of the relationship between the Guru and the disciple, of course. And as Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that Tad Viddhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. He says, Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina. He says that first you render service to a great soul, and then you should inquire humbly, inquire submissively. And the great souls, they have seen the absolute truth, so they can actually enlighten us. So therefore, whichever stream we are, whichever religion we are belonging to, whichever community we are, whichever gender we are, whichever age group we are, whichever parampara we are following within the religious traditions, the importance of a guru or a priest or a guide or a father, or even in Islam like the Maulvi, it is always stressed, because generally people ask, why do I need a mediator between me and God? People say, me and God and nobody in between, right?
Correct.
So I had also asked this to my Shiksha Guru like almost a decade back, that why do I need a mediator? Or I asked him, why do I need you between me and God?
Wow.
So he said, I had asked the same question to my Guru, he said.
Correct. Who is your Guru, sir? Shiksha Guru?
Yeah, he's in Chennai.
Okay.
Yeah, so he said to me that a guru is not one who comes between you and God. Guru is one who comes to remove that which is between you and God.
Correct. Very good.
Yeah, so many times people think, oh, this guru means, it's like a mediator, right? No, not exactly. Guru is not a mediator. Guru is like one who connects you to God, right? So you can say he's a mediator or whatever, that terminology depends on your consciousness. But a guru tries his best to engage the disciples' natural abilities in spiritual life, the natural abilities, the natural talents, right? So, for example, if a person likes to sing, for example, so then how does he take to spiritual life? So he may sing bhajans, which through which he can connect to God. Somebody likes to cook, for example. Somebody is a very big chef in a five-star hotel. So then what does he do, right? So he can actually, yeah, yes, he can make bhoga and then we offer it, and then that's the prasad which everybody accepts, right? And somebody likes to write, they can write articles on spirituality, on God, and so many things you can do, right? So somebody likes to read, they can read the scripture. Somebody likes to teach, they can teach the scriptures. Somebody likes to go for trekking, they like adventure. So there are so many holy places where we can like visit, right? So the guru's main job is to see the disciples' inherent nature and try to give some engagements by which he or she can feel that it's very easy to connect to God just by the way of being myself. I don't have to become somebody else. I can just be myself and I can connect to God. So therefore, it's very important that in our spiritual life, or even in our journey of astrology, we always, find a guru or a mentor. Now, of course, in spiritual life, there are different gurus. There's a Pat Pradarshita Guru who shows us the way to spirituality. Then there is Shiksha Guru who gives us the divine knowledge. And then there is Diksha Guru, who gives us initiation, Diksha into a particular tradition, of course. But even if you talk of astrology, at least you may not have a Diksha Guru when it comes to astrology, but you should at least have a Shiksha Guru or a mentor at least, right? Who can actually help you
Yes.
kickstart or rather continue the journey of Jyotish, because it's very easy to kickstart astrology. You just see some YouTube videos and you go to astrosage.com and you have the horoscope and all the fancy predictions from the online software, right? Mangal is in seventh house, this is going to happen. Jupiter is in seven, this is going to happen, right? But the most challenging part in astrology is not to learn techniques, not to start astrology. It is to continue and add up to your research, right? So, because I see so many people who are very good as, they're very good intellectuals, but they do not have a mentor. They lack patience to actually apply the techniques that they learn about predictive astrology, right? So that is where the challenge comes. So today what I will try to do is like to help everyone identify when are certain periods using astrology, using your horoscope, when you can actually try to find if I can find a guru or a mentor or a spiritual teacher, even maybe for astrology also, right? So for that, of course, the beginning is you always have to check the overall chart first. So when you check the overall chart, you will know what is the strength of the chart, because people tell me that when will I find my guru? And I ask them, imagine the guru comes in front of you. Will you be able to follow what he says? And then they're like, okay, maybe or maybe not, right? So first we have to always check the overall chart. What is the situation when it comes to his ascendant? What is the situation of his sun, especially? Then we need to check Jupiter. Then we need to check the lord of the ninth house, because the ninth lord is the guru personified, or the ninth lord can show the location where you find the guru. So many things can come up with the ninth lord. Then we have the fifth lord. The fifth lord will show our diksha, the mantra diksha that we get, initiation in a particular sampradaya. So all these things are important. And then we have the moksha trikons, like the fourth house, eighth house, the 12th house. Why do I say the moksha houses? Because we have the dharma trikons, the 1, 5, and 9, these three houses, which inherently show our dharma. But unfortunately, most of the people do not take to spirituality just like that. It's a fact, right? They just don't say that, oh, today I want to do something, let's go and do it. Yeah, there are some people who may do it, but most of the people, they undergo some very, very, very tough critical challenges in life, and they are undergo some radical transformation, because of which they end up feeling that now I need some other shelter, basically, right? It's like I need some other hope. So the 12th house gives them losses, right? Which is very painful sometimes, because it's the loss of the lagna after all. And then the eighth house is like a graveyard where you are, shedding tears because you have lost something. And then you have the fourth house. The fourth house tells you how do you take things in life, right? So something good happened. Do you become very egoistic? Do you become puffed up with pride when something good happens? Or you stay humble, right? Now, when something bad happens, what do you do? Do you become very pessimistic? Do you get into depression? Or you can still be normal and humble, right? So people, they have very tough times even when they are having good things in life, and even when they are having bad things in life. So the fourth house will tell you how do you deal with transformation. It can be a positive transformation from the eighth house or a negative transformation, right? How do you deal with losses? How do you deal with letting go of things? So these are not directly spiritual stuff, but they help us in a
Correct.
internal way to become more spiritual. And of course, we have the traditional, the dharma trikon, the first house, which is like, the lagna. It shows the intelligence. And the intelligence doesn't mean, how you can memorize some certain things. It does not mean you can, speak like 1,000 shlokas from the Ramayana or Mahabharata. It doesn't mean that. Neither does it mean you can prove some theorems of mathematics. It's not, that's not intelligence, and that is a part of intelligence, of course. But intelligence, the Sanskrit word which is used is dhimahi basically. So dhimahi basically means our ability to connect to the divine, our ability to connect to God. Because it is said a person who connects to God is by default very intelligent, because he's connecting to the source of everything else, right? One, it is said one who knows God does not have to know anything else, because everything is known. So therefore we have to check the first house, and then the fifth house and the ninth house, as I said before. And now when you check these houses, it will never happen that your Lagna Lord or your fifth Lord or your ninth Lord all are exalted. It will never happen. It will never happen that the fourth Lord is exalted. You may have one or two of these in exaltation, but some of them will be in debility, some of them will be in a Dusthana house, the fourth, the sixth, or the eighth, or the 12th. And some of them may not be in debility, but some of them may be conjunct with malefics, even though they are in the 10th house or the fourth house, seventh house, or the fifth house or ninth house, or any house. They may be conjunct or aspected by malefics, right? So that's how life is. Everything will never be good. You will always have some trouble or the other, in some area of life, because of the malefics and the lords of the Dusthanas basically. So now finally, when you look at the overall chart, along with that, we should always check the strength of the sun, as I said, because the sun actually represents the kingdom, as you know, and the sun tells us how do we, what do we identify ourselves with. So if somebody has sun which is conjunct the ninth lord, or sun is conjunct Jupiter, or sun is aspected by the ninth lord or aspected by Jupiter, then the person has a greater probability, again that's a probability, to identify himself or herself with some spiritual path, right? which, which means the person may be a IT engineer or a politician or a finance analyst or whoever, or sportsman, but the person's main identity in life is, I am a servant of my guru, I am a servant of God, right? So like we have the example of Hanumanji, for example, from the Ramayana. So Hanumanji, he's extremely intelligent, he's extremely powerful, right? He's known as Ramaduta Atulita Baladhama. He's like extremely powerful. He has all the 8 siddhis and the 9 nidhis. He's supremely empowered by so many different devatas. But if you ask him, and he has another identity, he's son of a particular person, then like son of two of a parent. So he may be a friend of somebody, right? He may be something of something, somebody of somebody. But if you ask him, who are you, what is your prime identity, are you this very powerful person who can fly to Sri Lanka from maybe Dhanushkodi, for example, or are you the one who can bring the Drongiri Parvat from the Himalayas to Sri Lanka? He will say, no, I am none of these. I am just a humble servant of Lord Ram. That is his identity. So he has so many designations, right? He has maybe 100 or 1,000 names. But
Correct.
if you ask him, what do
He
you
will
think
say,
you
I'm
are?
Ram Sev.
Yes, he will say, I am a servant of Ram. That's all. So that's the beauty, you have so many designations and you have so many identities, but ultimately the sun is known as Atma. Now whenever the people who hear the word Atma, they think of something very dangerous, or as in a TV serial sometimes they show na ki are Atma aane wali hai or something
Um,
like that. The word Atma actually means the self. Atma means the self. So whatever you think of yourself, that itself is the Atma, right? So if you think you are an IT engineer, then you are an IT engineer. But if sun is associated like with the ninth house or the ninth lord, then there is a very high chance that the person can identify with a particular guru or with a particular spiritual tradition. And when the dasha of sun gets activated, provided sun is associated or with Jupiter, as I said, then also the person can take to some spiritual path, or at least he may be introduced to a particular spiritual path. because the sun shows light, and sun is also a karaka for the ninth house, right, along with Jupiter. So then of course we have the planet Jupiter, which is, the Nasargic significator of, like, he's the karaka for the guru himself. So does it mean just because if you have a Jupiter Mahadasha, you will just meet your guru? It very rarely happens that way. Just because you have a Guru Dasha and you meet your guru, it generally doesn't happen. But what I have seen is, in Guru Dasha, if somebody already has very strong indications in his horoscope, like the Lagna Lord is in the ninth house, or the ninth Lord is in Lagna, or the fifth and the ninth lords are mutually aspecting each other, or they are conjunct and they are sitting somewhere, then I have seen, even if Jupiter is not associated with any of the dharma trikons, even then the person meets some spiritual teacher. This is very surprising, but I have seen this. So this is like saying, the person inherently is very spiritual, but the person is looking for a guru, and somehow he finds the guru basically. And of course, apart from that, your the lord of your ninth house, his dasha, if it is running, that can also help to find a guru. And along with that, we also need to check the Navamsha chart, because the Navamsha is a very important chart when it comes to your spiritual life. So sometimes I have seen, if a planet is in the Navamsha Lagna and that planet's dasha is running, even then a person can meet a guru, or the Lagna Lord of the Navamsha, if that dasha starts, even then we might be able to meet our spiritual teacher and take enlightenment. And of course, it will not ever happen that you're just ninth lord's dasha is starting. It won't happen like that, because for example, if you are a Aries Lagna, then Jupiter is the ninth lord, but he's also the 12th lord, right? So then it means that both the houses are getting activated in Guru Dasha, which means you might, or maybe you will only meet a teacher when you move to a different state within India, because the 12th
Yes.
house is associated, or it can show when you move to a different country also, right? And sometimes the ninth lord can be a malefic. Like for example, we have, Taurus Lagna, the ninth lord is Saturn, is a malefic. So what does it mean? Malefic, but he's also the 10th lord, you see. So therefore, it means that it will happen. You might meet the guru, but it will happen.
When
Uh,
you are traveling for work, professional.
yes, yes, yes. When you are, when you are having a good purpose in life, only then you are going to meet the guru. Because if the 10th house is involved, it shows you have a very strong purpose in life along with the ninth house. So it's like saying, the guru is there and the purpose is also there. That is why, whenever Parashara says the ninth and 10th lords are linked, it's dharma karma adhipati yoga. So it's like saying the guru and the purpose. So if you have a guru but you have no purpose, what's the use?
Correct.
And if you have a purpose but you don't have a guru, then how do you go there, right? So the ninth and the 10th, if they are somehow interlinked, then one of the planets dasha gets activated, either the ninth lord or the 10th lord. Even then you might meet a spiritual master, and you may start off your spiritual journey. And because the 10th house is associated, you may take to that path very, very, very seriously. And if the Lagna Lord is also in 10th, it might become a life purpose for you actually. So along with that, of course, within spirituality, it depends on, like there are so many different spiritual paths which you can take, even within the Vedic context, like Hinduism. If you say, for example, like Krishna says in the Gita, like there is karma yoga, then there is, there is gyan yoga, there is dhyan yoga,
Correct.
ashtanga yoga, and then there is bhakti yoga at the end. So so if you have very prominent artha houses, then it is very probable that you would like to work like a karma yogi, and maybe you want to offer the fruits of your actions to God and accept whatever God gives you. So that is more prominent. Like if you have too many planets in the second, sixth, and 10th house, then this can happen. I have seen in my experience. And of course, if you have very prominent planets in the moksha houses, the fourth, eighth, or 12th, then when the dasha activates, you may meet a guru who is from a bhakti yoga tradition, right? So they may teach you like bhakti yoga and basic principles of bhakti yoga or something like that. And of course, Ashtanga yoga can come when you have like too many planets in the Kama houses, like which are the Aries signs, of course, like Gemini, or I mean, it can be the third, seventh, and 11th, or even in the Aries signs, it can happen with Aquarius sometimes also. So depending on the nature of the planet, and sometimes it is possible that your Rahu himself is in the ninth house, right? So Rahu Dasha gets activated. So then what happens? You may meet a spiritual teacher, but the person may be a foreigner for your tradition,
Yes.
or you may take
Follow some other this thing,
yes. So there was this one
not of your own
yeah, there was
focus.
one of the funny
Different,
client.
yeah.
Yeah, there was one funny client I had.
Mhm.
He had once consulted me, not for himself, for his son. So he told me, he asked me that, I'm a very spiritual person, but my son, will he become spiritual someday? And he was having Rahu in the ninth house. So then I said, yeah, he will be, but not in ways that you expect him to be.
Correct. Out of box thinking.
Yeah, so then after 3 months his dasha started, and after 6 months his father again called me. And he said, my God, what is happening? You said he will become very spiritual, but now he's telling, I want to go out from this house only. I said, why? Because he said, I want to become a father in a church. And he's born in a Hindu family, but he's getting inspiration from Christianity. So he's wanting to follow that tradition, right? Which is like perfectly fine, whichever tradition inspires you. And similarly, I have seen in many Westerners, like people in America and like Canada, Australia, and all this, whenever they have Rahu or Ketu associated with the ninth and the 12th, both, then they always end up coming to India. Somehow or the other, it always happens. Even if Saturn is involved, they will still come to India, because Saturn and Rahu for them can mean very austere situations, austere circumstances, right? So imagine a foreigner who is staying in like America, in a nice city like New York. You tell him that he has to come to Haridwar and stay. I mean, it's a great place. It's a great place. I've gone to Haridwar once, but it's a bit austere for somebody who is in America, right?
Correct.
So yes, and sometimes if Ketu is involved, then I have seen people getting inspired towards the Chinese religion, like Confucian religion or Buddhism,
Mandarin.
or I have also seen them getting inspired towards Sikhism sometimes. These are like my observations. And of course, if Mars is involved, and Mars is like in your sixth house, or it is in the Lagna, or it is in the ninth house, then you may be inspired to follow a tradition where there are a lot of yagyas involved, where there are a lot of sacrifices, fire sacrifices, and you might want to keep brahmacharya, celibacy, to follow your spiritual tradition. So, and of course, if moon is involved, I have always seen by default they are into like singing bhajans and kirtans, and they are into bhakti yoga. That's like by default. In fact, James Braha sir had also come and said, Jupiter
Yes.
and Jupiter and moon together or aspecting each other, they will go into some bhakti yoga, and they always like a community thing, like as you say, sankirtan. And if moon and Saturn are involved, they like very silent, secluded meditation. They like go somewhere, they don't talk for days, and they are like trying to understand God, like that. So astrology, in my experience, to culminate, to like summarize, in my experience, I have seen using astrology, you cannot exactly predict when exactly will you meet your guru, but yes, these are different parameters which you can use. You can check your original birth chart, then you can check your mahadasha, your antardasha, and of course, if you find nothing else is matching, there are no combinations or no placements, then you can always pray to God, because we have the example of the great Dhruva Maharaj from the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes.
where he was very inquisitive about finding God. He was a 5-year-old boy who wanted to find God. And then finally, Lord Vishnu had directed Narad Muni to go and give him scriptural wisdom. And then Narad Muni came to find, and he found Dhruva Maharaj, and Narad Muni tested Dhruva Maharaj. Narad Muni said to him that, "Oh, my dear child, you're just 5 years old. Spirituality is for the old people. It's not for 5-year-old kids after all, right?" This is the time you should have fun. You should be with your relatives. You should be with your family members, with your friends. You should have the time of your life now, right? What are you doing in the forest? And then Dhruva Maharaj said, "Well, Mr. Narad, Mr. Narad, if you cannot help me find God, then my respects to you, but please push off. I need to find God. It's an emergency for me." And then Narad Muni said, "Yes, I was testing you." So he gave him the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the mantra he gave him. And within no time, within a very short span of time, he saw Lord Vishnu and he obtained spiritual perfection, of course. So therefore, people ask that, when will I find my guru? The answer is, you cannot find your guru, because guru is one who is bestowed by God. So that's the bad news, that you can't find. But the good news is, you don't need to. You just need to show your sincerity to God, and then God will send the guru to you. So it is God's job to send the guru to you. It's, of course, it's also our job to look and try to find somebody. But when we are confused, then when we have sincere prayers from the bottom of our heart, then God reciprocates, like he did in case of like Devi Shabri from the Ramayana. She also did not have a guru, and finally Matang Rishi had accepted her, right? So many, we can have like countless examples. Even the
Yes.
great Valmiki also. So when we do not see any hope using astrology, if we find that it's not happening, it's not working, then we just pray and then miracles happen. That will be all from my side.
Very, very beautiful. That was lovely. So, guys, wait for your guru, or already having guru, please follow them. Don't go against your gurus. That is the message that we have for you today. And thank you, sir. Thank you for
Thank you, madam. Thank you.